Welcome back to the class, everyone. Today we're here to address a question that has been asked many times in our YouTube comments. It's came up occasionally on Discord and has even drafted some pretty long conversations on our Twitch streams, and that is Jabba, or should Jabba be, my first Galactic Legend? This is becoming a more and more relevant question as time goes on, because while Jabba has never really not been good, his value has only grown ever since he came out in a multitude of ways. And there was this theory that before he came out, he was just going to be this really good like PvE Galactic Legend, and he wasn't going to have a whole lot of viability on the PvP side. And like, even when he first came out, he had a Datacron. We're like, oh, the Datacron's really making the big difference. And as time went on, we really kind of figured out the dude is just really stinking good. Even if you separate like all of the viability he's bringing in the crate raid, as well as the mod challenges and everything else that's going on, he's actually really good in PvP too. And not only that, he has a lower cost than even some of the really high up Galactic Legends like Lord Vader. So the answer isn't as simple as yes, and the video ends at a minute 30 or whatever. It is a little bit more nuanced than this, and there's becoming multiple ways to do the best thing, if that makes sense. A lot of this ends up being roster dependent. What I want to do today in this video is kind of take apart what are the absolute pros to Jabba, what are the cons, and what are you doing in your roster, or rather, what have you done in your roster that puts you in a good position to A, go after him, or B, put him off and prioritize another Galactic Legend that's going to help you overall more. Because what we're looking for here is, this is not an argument of whether or not Jabba is good or bad. The first rule of when you look at farming Galactic Legends is Galactic Legends don't suck. None of them do. I don't care which one you're looking at, they all have some viability in some way. In fact, we're really due, our channel is due for another Galactic Legend tier list thingamabob, but that's not really what this video is about. This video is specific about, do you get Jabba first? So that being said, this is him. Let's go ahead and get into our pros and cons list, as previously mentioned. And again, we're not going to be comparing him one-to-one versus the other 6 Galactic Legends. We just want to focus on him, but the other ones will come up. So what are some positives to farming Jabba? So number one, and it's actually not in the first spot, but you get to actually do this really cool mod challenge event that is coming up. I think it comes up like twice a month or something like that, and the rewards out of it are really stinking good. Like, it's immediate, complete, like 6A or 6, yes, not 6A, but taking a mod from 5 to 6 dot immediately. You also get a lot of mod attenuators there, which if you're not buying those with your get 3, those are really sparse. You're not getting those through a lot. That can help you get better speeds, and just resources that you're not getting a lesser version of without Jabba. You're just not getting it all. You don't even get to enter that event if you don't even have Jabba unlocked. And once you do get it, it's a pretty steady stream of constantly being able to upgrade your characters in that way, and it's very helpful. The next, and I guess we'll go to the actual first one on the list here, and really the reason why this video is being made is because the Crate Dragon Raid has now been out for a little bit, and it's been clear, rather, for a long time, that not only is Jabba, just the best team in there, but he has so much versatility of ease that you're doing it. Like, we've seen that both Tuskens and the Mandalorians, they can actually achieve the same score that Jabba can. The difference is that Jabba does it so much easier. Like, you don't have to move mods, you don't have to apply an Omicron, you don't really have to use a full team. You have to do some combination of those things to make it work, but that's what I'm saying, is there's a lot of flexibility where you don't have to have every single thing right and try 10 times to be able to do it. You can just either get the full team of 5 up there, apply the Omicron. You can do one of these options and walk away with a really good score. And the reason why this is so pertinent to the conversation right now is if you're comparing, say, Jabba with, say, JML or JMK or C or SLKR, those are probably the 4 main other ones that people look at for the first Galactic Legends, none of them even get to play. Like, they don't, same thing with the mod challenge, they don't even get to enter the arena. They don't get to do another node. They're just done. So if your guild is doing the crate raid and you don't have Jabba, there is a really massive push to get him, and then the mod challenges, and then there's several other things we need to go through. He's also really important to road. I'm not such a stickler on this one that I have the 5 of these. This is probably actually the one that means the least to me, and that's Not because I don't care about my guild, but because the reward difference here is not going to be as tangible as it is in the other places. One of the things that I really enjoy about the crate raid is you can very clearly see, all right, my guys are R7 right now. They're doing such and such damage because there's a cap. If I take them to R8, I immediately get this new reward. It's the same thing when you're farming Jabba. You don't have them at all. You don't really get to have those cap scores all the way at the top. You have to settle for much lower ones. Whereas Rote, you get to use Jabba a lot, and that is fun. He is a fun character to play with, to go around and go to his specific missions, of which he has many. But at the end of the day, that might not be what got your guild an extra star. And also, there's no get 2 there, or get 3 for a mission that he has. So it's still a bonus. He's on a node that other characters can't enter into, so it's there. PvP defensive viability. So this is both for GAC and TW. Again, I was previously mentioning, when he first got his Datacron, we all thought that he was going to be really good because of that, and he was. And then we're like, all right, once his Datacron goes away, he'll probably fall to a lower level, maybe more of an average GL, like 3 or 4 in the rankings as far as PvP goes. The dude is a massive pain in the butt on defense if he's modded and Omicron and whatever correctly. If you give him what he wants, he is such a menace. And even for a while there, we had Afra to be able to take him out, but now Afra's Datacron is gone, and the win rates on that counter have plummeted. And it really just goes to show he doesn't need to be propped up by a temporary bonus to actually have a lot of viability. And this is super cool too, because it's a lot harder nowadays to be a good defensive team than to be a good offensive team. So we typically make that comparison. And at the end of the day, the reason typically why you're a good defensive team is because you're really hard to beat. And an offensive team is a good offensive team because their AI sucks and they can't really pull it together. There's really isn't like a super great value counter out there that exists for him right now. There are counters. He's not unbeatable. No team is unbeatable currently in the game. So, but it's still a pretty stronghold thing. Like the same thing really can't be said about Lord Vader with the Fennec counter running around there, or SLKR. It also goes with JML or C, who have like non-GL counters that are also available. Right now, it's just very, very hard to tackle Jabba with a non-GL counter. Even within the GLs, the numbers are limited more so than against the rest. So very huge viability there. One of the other things I do like about him is he allows you to be a little bit more free with what game modes you enjoy, in the sense that he has really good Omicrons, or rather his team does. Boosh has one, Chrysanthemum has one, Lando and Embo have one. And really, if you're a TW junkie and that's like your thing, you can pick that. Like, you're not relegated to only GAC or only the raid or whatever. You can go that route with the Omicron. And you can do the same in reverse. Chrysanthemum for GAC, Boosh for the raid. They're all like pretty good. Maybe not like super game breaking, but the team ends up having a lot of viability that a lot of the other Galactic Legends, they don't really get that. Like JML's great, but you can't really make him even better with an Omicron. I guess Luminara's okay-ish under him if you're fighting Lord Vader or something. But for the most part, this is something that is fairly unique to Jabba that he's able to do. And now we do need to address the negatives or the cons, because this is really big, and this is ultimately going to come into, like I said, we're going to look at the pros and the cons here, and then we're going to go to the second part of questions you need to ask yourself to see if this is the right decision for you. So he does very little for fleet. Like, I think I had the thing pulled up and I could look through all the characters and go through, but off the top of my head, I did not really see. Yeah, I guess you're getting Han Solo, Outrider, and I guess Boba Fett's a pilot. There might be one other one I'm missing here, but like that is very, very low if you compare him with the rest of the Galactic Legends. Particularly, surprisingly, C actually gives you the most groundbreaking pilots. Like, he gives you Piet, which is great for the Executor. You get Jedi Anakin, which is crucial for Negotiator fleet. You get a slew of Empire and Sith pilots as well to be able to fill out a very valid fleet right now. And most Galactic Legends, actually, except for, again, Lord Vader, are going to fill out your fleets in some way. And this is one area that Jabba really falls short. He's just not doing as much on, at least right now. So this becomes really relevant, and I'm kind of skipping ahead here. If you don't have your fleets developed and you're missing out on crystals, especially in Fleet Arena and in GAC, I really don't know if all the stuff on the left is actually going to be that. Well, it's going to be beneficial, but I don't know if it's going to outweigh the cost of all the things you're missing from not having any fleets really built up and getting a double bang for your buck with the Galactic Legend like C. And the other thing that he just does not do very well is he does not help you build your roster in a very efficient way. And now, not every Galactic Legends do this. And one thing I do want to kind of differentiate on here as well is every Galactic Legend has loser characters in the requirements. Everybody has a Krennic and everybody has a Rose. Actually, Rose is kind of decent. Resistance Pilot, we'll go with that. They've all got one or two. That's not really what's all that big of a problem about Jabba. Jabba pretty consistently gets like one or two characters that are good on a team, but then you have to farm like the other 3 or 4. And while that's doable, there are other Galactic Legends that the second you unlock them, not only do you get like the spanking good team with like, let's say SLKR or Rey, but you actually get a pretty decent secondary team under like First Order TIE Pilot, or JML is probably the best example, where you get a good Jedi team with Jedi Master Luke and Jedi Knight Luke, and then you also get like the fully stacked Rebel team, and that's a huge value for someone who's building a roster, for someone who does not have a lot of those core teams to help them not just in GEC and territories, but also conquest and other game modes. You have to have something underneath you, and which is really why I'm like very against Jabba rush accounts. I think you end up missing, while you do end up ticking a lot of important boxes, I think you miss more, and you would actually be better off, maybe not necessarily going after or rushing another GL, but you would be much better off building your fleets, getting Executor, getting all of your core teams in, getting the ones that are going to be functional in the most amount of game modes, so you can build up your resources so that you can go after larger characters and then continue to get, again, a healthy stream of resources. So taking a look a little bit at this directly, you get Han Solo, which is good in the CLS team. I guess you get 3PO too, so they can kind of work, but again, then you're having to build 3 entirely other characters off. Jedi Knight Luke, there's not a single other Jedi in here, so he's not going to synergize with anything. He does have a little bit of, he can kind of go with whatever Jedi. I was going to say plug and play, but he's not plug and play, so I guess that's nice. Jawa, good in the raid, but you need 4 more. Same exact thing. Skiffguard is good in his own team. You do get a few stray bounty hunters, like Orsing and Fennec, who are good, but you really, like, you have to have Grief as well as Bosk for this to function. So, again, not that his requirements are bad. He does have a few losers in here. Looking at you, Gamguard and Greedo. And I know I'll get some fighters for saying that one. But you're just going to end up having to drag this out for a really long time before you can really go back to your core teams that are going to be helping you build the most amount of resources by beating multiple game modes. And especially one other thing I guess I didn't mention, and this kind of fits into the poor roster building, so to speak, is you're really not going to do very well in assault battles. And that's like one of the really nice things specifically about C, is that you build up an Imperial Trooper team that gets you max tiers on 2 assault battles, which is a really nice amount. Finishers as well as signal data, zetas. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that, again, Jabba isn't bad, but there are some things he could be missing that might not be right for you. I guess the only other thing that I could add is JML is also really stinking good for Conquest. Just really good, either as a kill all or as a, I can't get this feat done because my character's gear 7, he keeps dying, I need a really strong tank, and JML is just the best tank there is. So overall, those are the positives and the negatives. So this comes down to our pretty much final question, where you kind of have to analyze what you're going to do. Are you rushing? And that's really the most important question. Are you rushing with your roster to try to get Jabba? Because if you are, don't. There are other things that are higher priorities that are going to help you in a multitude of things that Jabba just isn't going to do. Like, do you have fleets built? If you don't, can you rely on defense? Can you stick Jabba? Do you have a GAC style where you can stick Jabba in front of fleets and just be fine? Do you have core teams built that can help you in Conquest or GOTB or whatever it is that you're wanting to do with your roster? There's tons of things to do in game nowadays. Are you gold crating in Conquest? That's a really important question. While I know red crate is kind of the big, awesome thing that you can get the new character in 3 months, but ultimately, gold crate is what is making sure you never have to touch proving grounds. And to me, that is the most important thing when talking to someone about building a roster. Is you need to have the character. You don't necessarily need to have the character within the 6 months, but what you don't want to do is not get the character in 6 months. Wait a whole freaking year and then get like what, 10, 20, I don't remember the exact amount, is 20 shards a month unless you pay through the nose and crystals. I saw It's going to be a completely different rant, but I saw a lot of people kind of making this argument with Ben Solo of like, oh, I don't have Rey. I probably won't have her for like 2 years or something like that, so I'm not even going to bother doing it. It's now going to take you like 3 years to actually get Ben, and even if you do get Rey in 2 years, then anyways. Bottom line, are you getting gold crate? Because if you are, then that's fine. Conquest is essentially, you can put a pin in it. And Jabba isn't bad in Conquest. He just doesn't have as much versatility as I would, especially JML and JMK end up giving you overall. And even Lord Vader if they keep doing this Amplify Agony thing. So that is going to be it for today, guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know of maybe some other pitfalls of Jabba. I know that one of the main comments that I got was when I did Conquest videos, everyone was like, I went for Jabba instead of JML, and now it's biting me in the butt. But and what are the other positives? What else am I missing about people who went for him and have this like really pleasant surprise? But as always, thank you for watching. Stay awesome.